Hi, and welcome to another interview in the series Creating a Life That Nourishes Body and Soul. Today, we're talking to Monica Marrone. Monica's faith has always been her anchor, giving her strength and resilience through life's challenging chapters. Birthing a child at 39 was a game changer. Her son inspired her to reevaluate her health so she could be an active, present mom as he grew up. A twist of fate led her from a career in the creative industry to entrepreneurship when she lost her job. Now in her 60s, she feels stronger, leaner, and healthier than in her 40s. Her vision is to inspire faith-filled women to achieve vibrant health and live impactful, service-driven lives. Her holistic approach to living younger, longer, is not about letting your age define who you are. It's about what you can do and who you're becoming. It's more than a business. It's a movement, and it's deeply rooted in faith, growth, and living with purpose. Her motto is be more, give more, make more. And that's what we're talking about today. Welcome, Monica.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to be a part of this project. I love the concept of nourishing body and soul.
Yeah, it's an important one for sure. So, Monica, tell us a little bit about your story and what led you to do what you're doing today. How did you transition from a field of being a creative to what you're doing now as a coach?
So, as I mentioned in my bio, the day my son was born really marked a big shift in my life away from the corporate world toward my family. And I really had this two desires in my heart. One was to do whatever I could to stay active so I could do fun stuff with David as he grew up. I didn't want to be the older mom that couldn't be active and engaged in his life as he grew up. And the second desire in my heart was to do whatever I could to get out of my full-time job so I could have more time with my family and more freedom over my schedule.
That makes perfect sense. So, what led you specifically to coaching the way that you coach now?
So, when David was about 4 years old, I got introduced to a line of nutritional supplements by both my chiropractor and my nurse practitioner. And right away, I could tell that I felt better and I had more energy. And I decided that I wanted to share it with other people, that the news was too good to just keep to myself. It, and then when I got laid off from my corporate job, I had worked for this company for 19 years, and then all of a sudden they didn't need me anymore. And I actually was excited about the opportunity because, as I said, my heart was not into that corporate job any longer. So I decided to put on the entrepreneurial hat and pursue spreading the good news about good health to other people. And, the entrepreneurial journey is exciting, but it's also challenging at times. And it seemed like everything in our lives kind of came to a head in that couple of years right after I lost my job. And, the overall kind of message that I have for people is that even during challenging times, if you put your trust in God, that He will carry you through those dark chapters. So, uh, about a year after I got terminated, let's say, or set free from my corporate job, my husband had a very serious back surgery and he had a spinal fusion. And although technically the surgery was successful, he wound up with chronic pain and couldn't work any longer, lost his career as an RN. So within about a year and a half, we lost both corporate incomes.
Wow,
And
that's
uh,
motivation.
in addition to that, he became addicted to the narcotic pain meds that they
Oh
put him on
gosh.
after his surgery. And so those um, periods of challenging times have been, kind of sporadic in my life. And when you reflect back on the things that you learn as a kid and then your life experience as an adult, you realize that sometimes there's life lessons that you wind up having to live and learn over and over again. And so it was really God's grace and our support network through our church that kept us afloat during that time.
Mm. That's so important. So all of that, I'm sure, played a big role into you kind of crystallizing your philosophy into be more, give, make more, give more. So you want to talk to us about that and like those three different parts of that and how that all
Uh,
fits?
Yeah, so the be more part is really about using all of the talents that God has given you to become the best version of ourselves. Like we've all probably heard that phrase over and over again, but it's really about being a perpetual learner and not giving up and having persistence. And I just believe that, those um that determination to continue to learn and grow throughout life is what makes life exciting and interesting. And I really believe that those challenging times that I've been through have given me a perspective that allows me to, find the good in each person and find the good in each day and celebrate life. So it's really about being the best that God has intended for you. So be your best self,
And
and then
I love that you phrased it that way. It's not do more, it's be more. It's really about not trying to do all the things and figure out how to fit everything in. It's about just really finding the essence of who we are and living from that place. Would you agree?
yeah, it's interesting that you say that because I'm very driven personality, and I tend to want to go 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 and do, and I have lots and lots of projects on the table all the time, and so sometimes when these little inspirations come to me. I think it's because the Lord is trying to teach me. So, what I find in my coaching, it's really the things that I'm trying to help other people with, or the life lessons that I have to keep learning over and over again. And sometimes my son, who's now 27, he'll remind me that I need to slow down and just be and not always be doing. Um, so yeah, be the best that we can. You use God's talents, seek the Lord, seek the Holy Spirit, look at what you're good at and the things that people tell me all the time are one, they're inspired by my energy. Um, and two, that they find my lifestyle, my living out longer lifestyle an inspiration for them. At 66, I keep challenging myself to grow and take on new challenges. So and that's really what it's about is living your life in a way that you can inspire others. So be more, make more is about, making a bigger impact. Increasing my income is always a goal as well, but not just for what it might do for me, but for opening up the door to give more. So and I see the give more part as, give more of my time, my talent, and my treasure. So being able to volunteer more in the community as well as, donate to causes that are important to me. And I see this cycle as kind of an ongoing cycle. It's like, it starts and just one part feeds into the next part, and it's kind of a perpetual, hopefully upward spiral of being more making more and giving more. And, in today's world, it's kind of interesting because I see my impact growing in two ways. Right here in the community where I live now, we're developing a group of like-minded wellness guru people that love to come together and share, you know, uh, inspiration, but also through opportunities like this to reach people online. So today you can have an impact locally as well as virtually.
Yeah, and that's a lovely thing about the day and age that we live in. So a couple of things, kind of circling back to the make more. There are people who a couple of things with that. There are people who would listen to that and go, "Oh, that's just a pretty face that you're painting on greed." And somebody else or other people were like, I never thought, making more, that's often just viewed from the perspective of so that we can have more. So you want to talk to those couple of things about if, somebody who might have some resistance thinking it's just a pretty face for being greedy, or people who think, my money's mine and that's why I make it so that I can do what I want. What are your thoughts about those two things?
Um, I really see it as both in terms of making more in terms of making more of an impact on people's lives in addition to the monetary part. So, what fuels me is when I get testimonials or feedback from people who I've had an impact on their life. That's what brings me joy. That's what brings me the energy to keep doing what I do. And again, locally, I met a woman a couple years ago, and she at the time was kind of a little bit of a hermit, was like staying home all the time. She's, had some disabilities and hardships in life. And over the last couple years, through our friendship, through our, health coach relationship, where I've keep like prodding her to improve some of her daily habits. Um, it's just been so rewarding to see her come out of her shell. She's, getting more engaged socially in the community. Her health has improved. Her clothes fit better. She's eating better. Her family is amazed at the progress that she's made. And that's the making an impact part. Sometimes it's just one person at a time. And I'm always anxious to get more results and impact more people. And then I have to again, slow myself down a little bit and realize, yeah, I'm incredibly blessed and I am making an impact. And my life is just so much richer, this entrepreneurial life, than it was in the corporate life. I mean, I'm grateful that I had that job for many years and that it sustained our family financially. But, one of the things that I reflect on a lot is that um, it's kind of like this story about Mary Rose that I've been telling. A lot of my friends are customers, but a lot of my customers become dear friends. And so it weaves together into this amazing tapestry that just really blesses my life. And so it's hard for me to separate it anymore. Um, and so I just feel really blessed by having so many more people that I interact with today as a coach and as an entrepreneur than I did in my employment world.
And so the make more is not, it's money is part of it, but that's not even the main part of it. But also, if we're not provided for financially, then we can't, there are a lot of ways that we can't give if we don't have the means to give. So it's a multifaceted, the make more is multifaceted, but it all leads to kind of all of it leads to this idea of service, to being able to connect with others. I'm hearing so much of the stories you're telling and everything you're talking about. There's this underlying theme of connection and really being there with and for each other. And that's really, really beautiful. So thank you for that.
Yeah, the give more is really um, a time thing as well as money. So I want to be able to do more and more of that kind of thing. Especially, I live in a small town in Wisconsin now, and I grew up in Chicago in the big city. And as I get older, I keep moving to smaller and smaller towns. But there's lots of opportunities to donate time and energy in a community like this. And so I'm starting to do more of that, and I'm really excited. I generally tend to draw energy from meeting other people and impacting people's lives. That's my happy place, and some opportunities are opening up for me to get out into the community and do demonstrations related to healthy eating, which is one of my passions. So I'm really excited about that because it's just my happy place, and I love meeting new people.
Wonderful. And as you can tell, Mary's somebody who's very fun to meet. Or Monica, sorry, you were talking about your friend Mary. What are the biggest struggles that you see people facing in this area? In the area of either their health and making the changes, or in the area of trying to be more, trying to make more, trying to give more? What are some struggles you see?
Um, well, going back to some of the really challenging times in my life, one of the big life lessons that, I'm still learning today is that about the only thing that we can control in life is our attitude. That we certainly can't control other people. And so, in addition to my husband suffering from uh, bipolar disorder, mental illness, addictions, which all of those diagnoses came out over a period of time. My dad was a gambler and had addiction issues, and as an elderly man was diagnosed as bipolar. So, um, learning, the codependency is kind of ingrained in me, that desire to be in control, that desire to want to control my environment, and it often translates into that desire to try to control other people. And so I was really exposed to some of those concepts of not being able to, control other people, as a young woman, as they started coping with my struggles early in our marriage, because there was a chapter of addiction the first 7 years of our marriage. And so I started going to Al-Anon and learned this lesson that, I can't control other people. But, in general, the lessons that we're designed to learn in life. I think we learn them in layers, and whether it's the spiritual walk or the physical walk, um, it's layer upon layer upon layer of learning. And my husband and I have been married for 40 years, which is an incredible miracle for all of the hardships that we've been through. But I'm so grateful that we stayed together through all of it. And I'm still learning today, after 40 years, that I can't really control what he does. And so that's one of my biggest life lessons. And, part of my mission now is to help other families that might be dealing with mental illness and codependency and addiction. And those cycles tend to be generational. And to break that cycle for our family and help other families break those cycles of mental illness and addiction and codependency is part of what I feel I'm called to do.
I love what you said about the challenges being and the struggles being in layers, because that has the possibility for looking at something and instead of just going, this is a challenge and it feels too big, it's too much, I can't do this, to then go, it's in layers. And so maybe we can take one layer and deal with that, and then take another layer and deal with that. It makes it, I feel like that idea is A, not only true, but also makes it more approachable to try to cope with, or to overcome, or to make it through when we hit those really challenging times.
I think it's critical to have a support network, whether
Mhm.
it's a network, through your church community or other circles that helps to sustain you through challenging times in life. And one of my long-term characteristics is just persistence, that I don't give up on people or situations. And I'm really grateful today that I stayed in my marriage through some of the dark chapters. And today, my son, he's decided to devote his life to God, and he's in the seminary, and that brings me an enormous amount of joy. And knowing that, I believe that God has um, wonderful things in store for all of us. But sometimes when you're in those deep valleys, you don't have the vision to see what's coming later. And there was a really dark time early in our marriage where just about everybody in my life was encouraging me to get divorced. And I really felt that God had called me into this marriage and had, um, blessed our marriage as a covenant bond. And so I would choose times that I was going to live separately from my husband, but I never felt compelled to get divorced. And so David didn't come along until 15 years in our marriage. So whenever I have kind of a day where I'm feeling disgruntled with life or having a hard time remembering what I have to be grateful for, I turn back to realize that, God was there to sustain me and keep me in my marriage, and that David is just such a miracle that and an incredible blessing for me. And, my legacy will continue through his service to God's community.
So when if somebody is wanting to make this change to just starting with the being more, if somebody is feeling that pull that they want to maybe cut out some of the things that are really stressing them if they can, or to just find more fulfillment, what are one or two practical places they might be able to start? What's step one that somebody might be able to take to be able to make that change?
Well, I think the one that I talked about, realizing that, you know, what you can control in life is your attitude. I think that's step one. And then, as I move into my health coach practice, I just keep it real practical. I want to be the fun and friendly health coach, not the scary, serious health coach. So I try to keep it fun, and it's basic, like fuel your body with real food, eat real food, and I try to keep it fun. And my goal is to eat 80% of my diet be real food that has like one ingredient. And I try to keep it realistic, that we're not all going to eat perfectly every single day, but if you look at your body as a gift from God, and that we're meant to nurture your body, then eating real food is going to be key to you developing long-term health. And so I just keep it pretty simple, and then move your body every day. I strive for 30 minutes a day of movement or 10,000 steps every day. And in today's culture where we're sitting a lot in front of a computer, in front of a keyboard, we're looking at screens an awful lot. To move your body, get outside. Um, it's just will bless you in many ways. So those are my three top tips, I guess. Realize you can't control other people, eat real food, and move your body every day. I keep
Nice.
it.
So you have a free gift for everyone who's registered, and then you have an offer for the VIP package as well, right? You want to tell us
Uh,
about
yeah, yeah. So, like I said, I like to keep eating fun, and one of the ways that I find people often struggle is when it comes time to snack. So I have a free download for everyone that's participating of my For the Love of Chocolate recipe guide. It's my sweet but still slightly healthy chocolate recipes.
I just
And
got that the other day and haven't had a chance to look through it thoroughly, but just glanced at it. It's like, I'm very excited about that one, Monica.
yeah, so that's a free download for everyone. And then for the VIP people, I have a special offer to join me on a Vision Vitality call, and that's a chance for me to get to know a little bit more about you, review your health history, your top goals, give you some top tips for implementing healthy strategies. And as a thank you gift for everyone that joins me on a Vitality Vision call, um, I have a download of my chapter called Miracle Moments, in a best-selling anthology called You Can, You Will that was published a couple of years ago. And so I will send you a little bit more about my story that I hinted at today in this digital download just for joining me on that Vitality Vision call. And then if we really kick it off on the call, I have a special offer for my Jumpstart to a Healthier You program where you will be able to participate in my 4-week coaching program for around half off the regular price.
Nice, nice. Thank you so much. And you may have covered this, my last favorite question. You may have already covered it because it may be the same as your answer to the other one. But what are three, your top one or two or three things that you think are really integral keys to having a life that truly is nourishing body and soul?
Um, Not holding on to resentments is really important. And as I look at, various hardships in my life, if I, chose to go back and relive that and harbor resentments, I'm only harming myself. So many years ago, my husband and I were on a weekend program for couples that had been through challenging times. And the priest that was on the weekend, he shared this quote with me that harboring resentments is like drinking the poison and expecting someone else to die. And so that I think is another guiding principle that has helped me throughout my life that I would encourage everyone to do. And the other one is just to embrace life like a great big adventure. So the living younger, longer philosophy is really to like see the world like you did when you were a kid and to have fun, spend time with your friends and family, go on adventures, walk barefoot in the grass and jump in the pool. Life is good. I just always challenge myself to keep learning and keep doing new things. A couple of years ago, I led a group of women and we went and hiked the Grand Canyon together. And this was the second time that I hiked the Grand Canyon because I did it in my 30s with my husband. And I wanted to do it again. And I found three adventurous women to do it with me. So create an adventure and invite somebody to go with you.
That was great. That was great advice. Thank you so, so much, Monica. I've had a great time talking with you. And anyone who wants to talk to Monica, you'll be able to, in the email, have all of her contact information so you know where to find her to claim her wonderful offers and to develop a little relationship with her if you'd like to. Thanks so much, Monica. We'll see you all again.
Bye.